Hey there, it's Dan here from Flexxable, and I interviewed a guy who just went from 0 to 55K per month selling AI to car dealerships. This interview is incredible. Let's dive in. Okay, so Aaron Rowley came into my community about a year ago. He was dead broke. He didn't have a job. He tried cold calling, door knocking, all sorts of different stuff, right? And nothing worked. And then he bought my book, The Instant AI Agency, and his life absolutely turned around. Now he's helping car dealerships, as I said, crush it with AI. He's getting paid on performance basis and retainers and all sorts of great ways to get paid. And he's going absolutely from strength to strength. And what he's built here is incredibly valuable. I really enjoyed this interview today. So without further ado, here's the replay. Hi everyone, I'm here with Aaron Rowley. Aaron, how you doing, buddy?
I'm all good, thanks, bro. How are you?
Good, mate. I met you about 4 weeks ago now, for the first time, and I've kind of seen you. I've known you for must be close to 18 months now. 18
Yeah,
months, something like that.
we're looking at September 2023.
Yeah. So coming up 18 months, and your story is pretty special, right? Because you came in literally with nothing, right? Literally with nothing. And you were one of these guys that, like someone that creates, has a community and creates courses and stuff like that. You're someone that kind of came in and just hassled me. And eventually I was like, oh God, I'm just going to give this guy my course because he's just not going away, right? And I've never really done that before. Well, I've done it a few times maybe, but I think maybe I had some instinct about the situation and knew that you were serious about doing this, right? Because usually when I give away something for free to like friends or family, there's no pain involved, which means they don't take the action, and it's just another shiny object, right? But with you, things were different, and I've witnessed your journey, and I've seen you go, and I don't know, like probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago, you posted you hit 55K a month helping car dealerships with AI, and that's pretty amazing to go from 0 to that. Do you know what I mean? So I just wanted to like really talk about that today, what's happened, what the journeys look like, and yeah, let's just dive in. So let's rewind a little bit and tell me what happened, like at the start, right? And what your situation was, what you were doing before, and then let's just do a bit of a timeline, man, because I don't know the full details of the story. I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, man. So rewind about 2 years ago. So in next month in May, I will have quit my job full time 2 years ago, and up until that point, I had only ever first 5 years out of school, I was in retail. So I did an apprenticeship in the co-op. That's a small retail, like a 7-Eleven for anyone that's in America.
Yeah.
And I did that apprenticeship, learned how to do management, all that kind of stuff, and I was a store manager by the time I was 19. Now, that sounds great on paper, but when you're getting paid about £3 an hour more than the regular staff on the checkouts, it isn't that cool. So I needed some more money standard, and then I had a buddy who did a very niche job. It was fixing windows on buses. So he brought me in on the night shift. Goodbye retail. Hello new career path. I was so excited. We're getting paid probably an extra £100 a day, because I'm doing the night shift. I did that for 2 years, and then when the early stages of COVID had come around, I had because I was doing that for 2 years. What I was doing in like as my hobby during that period was I used to build camper vans. So I lived in a van myself.
Well, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, I lived in a camper van for like 3 years, and then I built it, ripped it down, ripped it down. Tried to be active in all of the UK self-build camper van communities. So when COVID came around, and I got put on furlough. So for anyone, I know a lot of Americans don't know what furlough means. So that's when the government told us we're not allowed to go to work. Here's like a small portion of your salary, but That's all you got to do. So all of my money got slashed. So I'm like, oh my God, I got no money again. And at that time, I was starting to I didn't know what leads were at the time, but people were messaging me on Facebook saying like, hey, can you help us with your camp, like with our plumbing and our electrics, our solar panels, all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. So that was pretty good. I had a little bit of money again during COVID, and then when it was time to go back to work, I was like, I don't want to go back to work in night shift. So I applied for a very similar job at a company that did. It was like field service engineering, so just fixing water machines, like B2B commercially and domestically.
Yeah.
And it was okay there, about 40K a year. And again, that's subjective. um, so I did that up until 2 years ago in May, and the straw that broke the camel's back for me was I had just walked into a large. I'm not going to say any names, but I had just walked into a super large business and done a lot of servicing for them, and found a load of units that were broken, and I told them they need to get them replaced. They said, okay, no worries, get sales to send the invoice. And then a few days later, I learned that sale was £750,000, and I did get no commission for that because I was just learning about I had just discovered Alex Hormozy, so I was learning about sales, I was learning about commissions, it was all clicking in, and then I got that news that my sale was £750,000 and I got nothing for it. I was like, I can't do this anymore. So I just, even though I had no money, I had no savings, no nothing, I was like, I've got to figure out a way to make this sales thing happen, because if I can, that's all my problems in life.
Yeah.
So,
And no skills either. You had no sales skills. You had no tech skills. No university degree. Did you
nope,
go? No.
nope,
Like
nope.
you literally went in. Yeah. So you're running a store at like the equivalent of 7-Eleven, and so you came in with nothing, right? And
Yep.
this is
Apart from my people skills that I've developed in the
yeah.
jobs, I've never done.
And you got yeah.
And one of the things I say to the community pretty often is I never used a PC before 2 years ago.
Oh my God.
Not one time. So when it was time for me to quit my job, I took my last £500 and I went on Facebook Marketplace and I bought a laptop from a sketchy dude, and that was the beginning. I remember getting it home and I was like, right, how do I use this thing?
Oh
Like,
my God.
I opened it up. There must be an on button here somewhere. I had to really figure it out
That's
from
a
the
great
jump.
story. That's a great story. And what I love about this, right, is like, moving forward like a little bit, and we'll continue with the story, but like when it comes to AI and what we're doing now and what you've done, anyone's an expert, right? Like if you've got a month's experience, you can sell a hell of a lot and do a hell of a lot of business with just, if you know a tiny bit more than the business owner that you're selling to, right? And
Yep.
that's why I'm so excited, because you've heard me say this like hundreds of times, right? Businesses know they need AI, they just don't know what they need and they don't know who can do it for them, right? So people like you who have got some willingness to get up and like actually, watch some YouTube tutorials, figure out how to sell, figure out how to put all this stuff together, can come in and go from 0 to 55K a month, just like you have
Yep.
with, short. I mean, that's insane money, really. I mean, God, you were earning 40K a year, like, and you thought that was good money back then, and now you're earning more than that in a single month.
Yep.
And only because you've put some elbow grease in, really. Like, that's all it's been. Elbow
Right.
grease, resilience. You would have been knocked down hundreds of times, right, on this journey. So anyway,
Yep.
continue. So tell me, let's fast forward to the bit where you came into my community, and you'd obviously listened to Hormozy and you'd seen some other influencers, and what
Yep.
stood out about like what we were doing.
Yep. So I'll rewind a couple months from when because I vividly remember your first ad that I saw.
Yeah.
Right. So I had I'd spent like 3 or 4 months networking on Facebook groups, just trying to learn about the world of making money online. I say this quite frequently. I used to ask people what they did for a living, and then they would say, "Oh, I work from home," and I would say, "Okay, what does that mean?" And they're like, "Oh, I just do some admin stuff," and I'm like, "But what does that mean? Like when you wake up in the morning to the time you go to bed, what tasks do you do on a day-to-day basis?" And no one would ever share that information. So I had to really learn. Like I had to learn how sales are made on Amazon, how sales are made on eBay. I had to learn how companies just sell. Period. I didn't know any of it. So I had watched a few of the gurus, the Hormozis, and then a few of the SMMA type YouTube gurus,
Yeah.
and I had decided maybe Facebook ads is the thing for me. So I sent a bunch of DMs according to all the random videos, and I booked a few meetings for myself, and I closed them on performance only deals. So the niche was fireplaces,
Yeah.
very strange and unique. I got the clients and I told them I just want 10% commission on everything that I sell, and they said, "Okay, what else do you need?" I said, £1,000 a month for ads, and they said, "Okay, that sounds good." So I ran the ads. They went live. I was spending about £10 a day on ads for each company and getting 1 to 2 leads a day. And I was sitting there glued to the screen, waiting for leads to come from the ad manager because they didn't give notifications. It didn't do anything. So a quick Google later, how to get Facebook lead notifications. I came across this tool called Go High Level, and I was like, okay, what's this? Down the rabbit hole. 36 hours later, I had both clients set up. I was getting the notifications as I wanted, but I'd also found that you could send automated text messages with the system as well. And I was like, whoa, this is great. And so I ran with that for a few months, and then all was going good whilst it was fireplace season. But the moment the weather started getting a little bit warmer, it just died. I stopped getting leads. So naturally, the companies were like, "We don't need you anymore because you're not generating leads." And I was like, fair enough. So I was sitting there scrolling through Instagram, like, I hate my life. And there was an ad from a guy called Dan who said that we make money online with AI and ChatGPT and SMS. And I was like, what does this mean? So I clicked on the ad, read the 3-page Google Doc, and at the end it was like free AI snapshot, give it a go. And I was like, oh, I kind of know what a snapshot is. So I downloaded that, went through at the time it was the 5-day challenge, not the 3-day challenge, which is infinitely easier if you haven't been through that challenge yet. I went through the 5-day challenge, did all the tech setups and whatnot. I built the androids in like 15 minutes. So as a guy that barely knew what he was doing, I followed your and Graham's click-by-click tutorial, and I was texting with my bot 15 minutes later, and I was like, whoa, this is great.
Yeah.
So then, after I'd finished the course, at the end, your CTA was join our Skool community. So I was like, I'm gonna go in here and have a look. And bearing in mind, I had nothing. So when I joined the group, I was like, I've got to put everything I have into this community and literally just network and learn who's doing what, who's making it work, and who's not making it happen. At the time, I didn't understand about the concept of Roya. You hadn't yet written your book, so I was so in the dark. And what I did was I made a post in the community, and it was literally something along the lines of, 50-50 partners. I do the tech because I'm okay at it now, and you do the sales because I have absolutely no idea of what I'm doing. And that post generated, I would say, a combined 200 Zoom calls for me.
Wow. Inside our Skool community. By the way, there's a link to my Skool community below this video.
Yep, AI automation ninjas. That's where it all started for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I spoke to about 200 people and just asking basic questions like, where are you in the journey? How good are you at sales? What have you been doing with the tech, etc. And I had managed to learn a little bit more, but not really get anywhere, if that makes sense. So after so much activity in the group, you had reached out to me and said to me, hey, basically, what the hell are you doing in my group? It looks like you're selling like crazy.
I don't remember that, but yeah, probably, yeah.
And I was like, dude, I'm not. I promise. I'm just trying to learn, and this is the only way I know how is by being super active in online communities.
Yeah.
And you were like, okay, and then you let it slide and just let me carry on. And then a few weeks later, you said to me, hey, you seem to really know what you're doing. Would you be interested in? And obviously, I'd been hassling you like crazy.
Between that, yeah. I remember the guys in the office. I was like, this Aaron Rowley guy. Like, I don't know about him. Like, should we kick him out or should we keep him? should we keep him? And I think someone said, oh, let's just let it slide a bit longer. And
Yeah. So
anyway,
I
yeah,
was messaging you like crazy, just asking for help, asking just generic questions, and eventually you caved and said, "Hey, look, I can't keep messaging with you back and forth all the time. Just here's the course, and then all I want in return for it is for you to just keep doing what you're doing, helping the community, but also in the course community as well." And I was like, "Done deal. That's good."
yeah, yeah,
So I joined the community, and then I joined one of the tech calls because I was like, let's go have a look and see what this is about. And I remember just jumping in and asking a few of the questions that Graham had seemed a bit like, oh, I'm not sure about, because I had just figured those things out just by myself. And then I repeated that for a couple of weeks, and then one day Graham was off, and Gav messaged me and was like, "Hey, would you mind taking the tech call, because you've basically been doing it for the past month anyway?" So I was like, "Okay." So, you know, to this day, every week I make sure that I jump on that tech call to help anybody that
mate,
is in the position that I was in back then.
yeah,
Then also while we was doing that, I had carried on networking, trying to build, make relationships with anyone that I would hope would be good at sales. And I eventually discovered, so this wasn't in the community, sadly, but it was a friend outside of the community that I'd made via Facebook. And I said, look, here's what we're doing. So sign up to this AI Automation Ninjas group so you can go through the same videos that I did, so you can really understand what it is we're doing here. And then he watched your video with, is it Travis Sargo?
yeah,
And he was like, oh, this is great. I can just use my network, and they happen to be car dealerships. So he called a boss. We jumped on a call with one of his old bus bosses, and he was like, what is it you guys are doing? We said, well, we take all of your old leads and we text message them with AI, and we just ask some simple questions to see who is still looking for a car. No high pressure sales tactics, no crazy spam, no nothing. All we're doing is trying to start a gentle conversation just to ask, are you still looking for a car? And the guy said, I'll give it a go. How much does it cost? We said, nothing. You pay us on results. And we sent our test batch of 200 messages. They made a sale, and they paid us $1,500. And we were like, whoa, okay. Then they sold a few more. And then they were like, we're not enjoying paying you guys commission like this, because we don't actually make that much money on the cars. And then they said, how about we just pay you on a monthly basis? Let's just say $2,000 a month. No, sorry, $3,000 a month for that one. And to this day, 12 months later, that client is still with us. So they've been paying us 3K for 12 months. So they've paid us 36K in total. And that's just one of them. What had happened is,
can I just jump in, right? Because I'm intrigued about this, right? Because I've never worked with car dealers. So we've got this bloody door. I'm just gonna have to pause 2 secs here. We'll cut this out. This window's open. It's raining, literally raining on my head right now, which is distracting me. So, from what I understand, Aaron, like you're doing exactly the same as like what we teach inside my book, right? You ask the clients if they've got any old leads, and you turn them back into appointments for the dealer to close. Is that pretty much what you're doing, or is there anything special about that?
no, so we follow the guidelines pretty much exactly as it's laid out. It's take old leads, put them into a system, get AI to text them. AI has the conversations with them, and then asks, "Would you like to speak to someone?" If they say yes, we send it through to their team. Then the only thing I would say we do differently is that we just overwatch the AIs as well. So over time, obviously, I've employed some people who can do some of that stuff, because I don't I don't have the time for it anymore. But what we found was that just by watching the AIs, we were able to send over leads that maybe said, yes, I'm still looking for a car, but they just stopped speaking there. So there's another potential sale.
Of
We
course.
might find people that are, hey, I don't want to buy a car right now, but I need a service.
Yeah.
There's some more money. Oh,
Yeah.
I need to buy a new radiator for my car. Bang, there's a parts lead, and
Yeah.
and and so on. And then on the odd occasion, it would be, oh, I already bought a car from you guys 3 months ago. Okay, great. How was your experience? Oh, it was great. I love the dealership. Okay, would you
Yeah.
mind leaving us a Google review? So
Perfect. Yeah.
as we've been watching them, and we haven't just set it and forget it, we've been developing the system,
Yeah.
adding instructions to the prompts over time.
Yeah.
Our system just got better and better and better, and therefore the results for our clients were getting better and better and better. And even when you boil it down to the Roya training itself, right? Like if you're working on a performance basis model, you should be checking the CRM for the leads to make sure that you can invoice for all of your sales.
Yeah.
Well, if you go one step beyond that and just write a little report on every single lead that you send and then send that to the sales manager as well, now you're holding the sales team accountable for their actions so that you get more sales from the AI's leads.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, we just follow exactly as it's lined out in Roya.
Inside. Yeah. Yeah. It makes sense. Inside Roy, you probably know this as well, right? But we have because when you think about it, right, like car dealerships, they might have 100,000 old leads that they've accumulated over the last 10 years, right? So for a team to call those 100,000 leads is almost impossible, right? It's just not going to happen, right? So what we do, like let's say we send out 100,000 SMS, roughly, I don't know what your stats are, but roughly 30% of those people are going to get back, right? And roughly, out of those 30,000 people, there'd probably be, I mean, they're big numbers, right? But there's probably going to be something like 1,500 appointments booked off the back of that, right? So out of 100,000 leads, it comes down to 1,500 appointments. But you've got to remember that there's still 30,000 people that replied, right? So there's 28,500 people that are a lot hotter than if a sales team was going to call 100,000 leads, if that makes sense, right? So we grade the leads, okay? There'll be the gold lead, which is their appointments. There'll be the silver leads, which are the ones that are going back and forth and just dropping off or wanting the service or, that type of stuff. And then there's the bronze leads, which replied but didn't do much after that. They're still valuable leads, right? They're still probably worth a call. So if we're able to talk to our client, and I'm sure you do this, and tell them, listen, we've got 3 sets of leads here, the gold, the silver, the bronze. We're going to sort of send the gold to you, work them like crazy. They're your number one priority leads. But the silvers, there's still a lot of gold in them too, literally, right? So hit those up too. And then the bronze ones, if your team has got nothing else to do, call the bronze leads, right? So that way we get, highly engaged leads coming through in a graded system that clients love. They love this to keep their sales team.
So
busy.
we've actually been told recently by a few of our clients we wouldn't have had such a good quarter without us. So just hearing that, we wouldn't be anywhere without, we wouldn't have been able to make it this far without you guys this year. It's like
Amazing.
Whoa.
Amazing.
and these are companies that are doing $20 million a year or more, may I add.
Yeah.
So to touch off your stats, I actually just pulled the stats from all of my campaigns last week. The average is about 42% replied.
42% get back. That's insane. Yeah.
And then the average. So we don't actually do the grading system. We just say, hey, you're going to get some leads that either said I'm still looking for a car, all the way through until I want a red pickup truck. I've got 20K to put down. I've got an old Ford Fiesta I want to trade in, and I am looking to pay $500 a month. So you could get a lead anywhere from here to here. We just take care of, and sorry for the profanity and whatnot, but we just take care of all the people that say F off.
Yes.
So all your team has to do is focus only on people who are at least a little bit interested or more.
I love it.
And then from there, it's a pretty no-brainer. We've done most of the grunt work for you. You get leads to close, and quite a lot of the time they book in test drives, so you don't even need to get them in.
It's amazing. And what before we get into how do you scale this to from your first 3K to 55K a month? What was I going to say? Have you thought about, because in my community inside, people that have bought my book and also people inside my course Roya, I always talk about getting claws in, right? Because database reactivation is what I call the offer of the century, because on a performance basis, people just don't say no to it, right? But then they get insane results. And the best people, and this is a mistake people make, right, is that they're like, oh, we need another client now. We've got such good results for them, but like the best people to sell to are the people you've just got results from, right? So have you experimented yet with like doing the next thing for them, which could be taking their inbound calls with voice AI, or doing their fresh leads, or like what exactly have you done to getting your claws in? Like what have you done?
Yeah, so we lead with a database reactivation offer as our bread and butter, and we run with that until the databases run out. So in most cases, the average amount of viable leads that we have to work with is between 10 and 20K in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Because the car dealership industry moves so fast, it's like 6 months is kind of the limit.
Well, yeah.
And either one of two things is going to happen when we run out of leads. They're either going to have more for us to work because they get so many.
Yeah.
Or we need to look at, okay, how do we keep you guys for even longer? So let's look at speed to lead. Let's look at how do we use AI to get better reputation. So, one thing that a lot of people don't know about dealerships is that the dealership sends out what's called a CSI survey, Customer Satisfaction Index survey.
Yeah.
And so if you're a new car store, say you're a Ford store, just generically around the world, doesn't matter where you are. When a customer buys a Ford will send them a survey in a few days' time. Not the dealership; they're a separate business. Ford will do it. So what we want to do is get some kind of feedback from them before that survey hits them from the dealership, to make sure that we can figure out if there are any problems with the dealership before they let the manufacturer know specifically.
All right.
So.
Yeah.
In most cases, we just ask a simple question. Hey, how was your experience? Give us a 1 to 5, 5 being the best. If they say 4 or 5, then we send them a Google review link, and then we get AI to reply to that review. Yeah. And then if they say 1, 2, or 3, we don't really want that sent to Google. So we send that directly to the customer success manager.
Yeah.
And they take it from there. So that, a lot of the times, those people will come back to the AI and say, hey, oh my God, I'm so glad you forwarded me to the manager. They took care of all my problems. And then the AI will then convert it again into a 5-star review. So nice. It does all these extra things. And we're then we're working their Facebook leads, we're working their Google leads, we're working any leads that get sent to their website. We sometimes integrate directly with their CRM so that we get all of the leads that come in as soon as they come in. So it just depends on the client and like the unique situation they have. But the game is, now we've got you, how do we keep you for life?
Love it. I love it. It's really impressive. And for those of you who are thinking, this all sounds well and good, right? But like, how do I link Google with AI? And like, this sounds really tech heavy, and it sounds complicated. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Because you came in with zero experience, right? And you've obviously got my community to kind of help you and support you with some of these questions. But I imagine a lot of the time it's just looking something up on YouTube, right? And like, there's plenty of free resource out there to help and to learn.
So my first port of call is, does Go High Level have this built into it? So that I would rather spend a week trying to figure it out with High Level and NAN and build something myself, maybe going backwards and forwards with ChatGPT 1,000 times to get it to work. And then if I can't figure it out, because my goal is to use as few tools as possible, just to keep it as lean and simple as we can. And then if I can't figure out a problem, that's when the YouTube comes in, that's when I make a post in the community, etc. So I try and stick to my roots and stay resourceful, but I know that those resources include help, guidance, and videos. What I've found is, because I decided to go down the route of, can I build this stuff myself? Like I said, High Level pretty much has everything that you could possibly want built into it. So when people say, oh, you just need to pay for this extra tool, you don't. Very rarely do you need to do it. And when I'm talking, like you just said about like with the Google leads, for example, all Google leads are leads directed from Google to a website. So all you need to do is replace all of the infrastructure they have on their website. Think forms, think surveys, think chat widget. You just need to replace those with the high level equivalents. And then that does the direct integration between their website and our AI.
Yeah. Nice. So you can figure anything out in this day and age, right? With a bit of resourcefulness and a bit of elbow grease, right? All right. I mean, it's super impressive. What else? What else have you got planned? Because for me, like we've been dabbling with the voice stuff for a while, and we created a voice demo that can be used in any nation. That's really cool. That took off. Have you thought about getting in to look after the inbound calls or anything like that with voice, or are you just kind of keeping it pretty
Yeah,
keep
so
quiet?
because we're going for the volume play. So this was the decision we had to make like some time ago, and it was, do we want to go down the route of have a few clients that pay us a lot of money, or do we want to go down the route of have a lot of clients that pay us a little bit less? And here, full customization, you pay for everything, we build it, you think it, we build it. Here, it's a slightly more templatized approach without adding in too many things and only keeping what works.
Yeah.
So when we do experiment with new things, if it doesn't work immediately, I just forget about it and carry on with the stuff that works. All the shiny objects, all the things that are new, all the things that come up, let other people deal with those.
Yeah.
Because until you're the expert at the one thing, there's really no point in expanding and going crazy unless you're doing the few clients, lots of money, full customization option. If you're trying to do what we're doing and go full volume, you need to make that decision to not get caught up in the nitty gritty of, oh my God, this person wants this. Oh my God, this person wants this. And just take all of the clients as a whole, what's working for all of them, and just keep doubling down on that thing that's working again and again. Because it's a lot easier to scale that way than it is to be doing a million and one things in every single direction.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Good stuff. Clever. All right. So now you've had now you're at 3K a month. You've landed your first client. Tell me how you scaled. Did you get new clients? Did you ask for referrals? Like what happened? How did you do it?
Yeah, so brushed it on this first one. So now we have a case study. And this was before the white label Roya case study, right?
Yeah. And by the way, for those who are wondering what that is, we understand that AI is so new and a lot of people are coming into AI. So we created a white label. It's a bit cheeky, really, but like we had amazing results from one of our clients, and we allow you to come in and basically swipe it and just put your own voice over it. Or we've got a Google Doc version as well. We'll put a link below in the description box too. But anyway, Aaron didn't have that luxury, so he had to go and land his first client. Got the case study. What happened next?
So we got the case study, so now we're able to talk about it. So now my partner William is calling around more of his connections in the dealership space. Now when he's talking to them, there's some credibility because we got one. So what happened was he had a buddy that had a buddy who owned a car dealership marketing agency. And he set us up with a meeting. We're sitting on the meeting with a guy, and he openly starts it with, look, guys, I have no idea who you are. I do not care about what you do. And I certainly do not care about AI. So the only reason I'm on this call is because William is really good friends with my friend. So I'm just entertaining this for the sake of the friendship. So we explained to him what we did. We explained to him the results. And he said, I don't care. I don't understand this. Like, I just don't get it. So what I'm going to do, and I quote this is exactly what he said. He said, I'm going to give you my fuck it, I'll try anything client.
Yeah.
But he's also my fuck you, I'm not paying you anything client. So my challenge for you guys is if you can get money from this guy with his dealership, then I will know that you know what you're doing. So we're like, challenge accepted. Let's go. So we bring on this dealership down in California, and we work the leads. We do the standard process, and towards the end of the month, the guy starts giving us a bit of grief. So what we actually did in the middle of the campaign, because they were getting sales and it was working fine, but what we also did was run the customer service one that I just spoke about 5 minutes ago.
Yep.
And we had uncovered there were a lot of problems with their it's called the title department. So in America, when you buy a new car, you get a temporary registration plate with it, and then you have to go and figure out and get your own one and this temporary one only lasts 90 days. So what we had found, there were so many existing customers in their database where the sales team hadn't updated them to sold, and they hadn't, because of that, the automations that they had in their CRM to send out the registration and the paperwork for the car wasn't getting done. So we said to the owner, the guy was not going to pay us. We said the 3K for the trial run.
Yeah.
And he wasn't going to pay us. So I said, okay, well, I'm just going to take this list of 100 major problems you guys have got with your dealership, and I'm going to delete it. And he went, well, what do you mean? I said, no, it's fine. You don't want to know. You don't want to pay us. So I'm just gonna throw this in the trash. And he said, oh, just let me know what the problems are and I'll pay you. And I said, pay us first. So cha-ching, another 3K. We handed over the list of problems that the AI has uncovered in their business just from conversations with their customers. And we went back to the marketing agency owner and said, here's the screenshot.
Yeah.
You paid us. And he went, absolutely, I don't believe it. He called him. He said, yep, they got money out of me. And then every month since, the guy has sent us another 1 or 2 dealerships to work with. And he's still actively pushing us out to this day, that's just one. So all of the referrals are coming, and you call it in the community a superconnector.
Yeah.
So we've found and worked hard to get a superconnector to make it easier for us to bring on clients. So even though we've been trying to figure out the outbound and outreach side of things, we're still getting warm ones coming in every month. And then what we've also done is we've experimented with lots of cold email, lots of LinkedIn outreach, and now we're slowly starting to book appointments either with more superconnectors or specifically car dealerships themselves.
Yeah.
So in the last 2 months, we have jumped from 30K to 55K just from the warm stuff coming in, but also with more connectors coming in and more outreach, so more appointments getting set for us to close.
Yeah, that's it. That's amazing. If you are listening to this call and you know people with car dealerships or you are a car dealer, then I'm pretty sure Aaron's probably one of the world's leading AI guys for car dealerships right now. So please find him. You'll be able to find him inside my community. But yeah, mate, that's impressive. And actually, I've just referred you my super connector because he's got a ton of car dealerships. So I'm really excited to see where that one goes as well. What do you think you're going to do for them? Same thing?
Yeah, so your guy told me that he works with a lead generation provider for dealerships that sell leads to 8,000 dealerships.
8,000, wow.
Yeah, so this company has a credit application, like lead generation website where people go and, apply for credit to buy a car.
Yeah.
And then they sell those leads to 8,000 dealerships across America.
Leads, kind of coldish leads, right?
Yeah. Oh, they're qualified and they're actively looking for a car right now.
Yes.
And what they do with those leads is they use humans to reactivate them and then resell them.
Resell them again. Yeah, to the same guys again or to different dealerships? Doesn't matter.
It could be both, yeah.
Yeah.
So what the play might be is replace those humans or add on top of those humans an SMS star reactivation system for the lead provider, so that we can get more leads out of volume. And I think that's going to be the play. And then I also think he might have a few group owners as well that he knows. So a group is one big company that has lots of franchise dealerships underneath it.
Yeah, nice. That should go well. And you mentioned before, we're swinging back around, that you're getting a 42% response rate on the SMS that goes out to leads that clients thought were dead, right? And the beauty of what we teach is that we have, we call it the Prince Charming SMS, because it gives databases the kiss of life and wakes them up. How much, and it's fine if you have, but how much have you kind of, and by the way, you can find out what all that stuff is inside my book, which will be in a link below this video as well. But how much have you tweaked that? Like much at all or nothing?
Barely
tweaked it.
I've experimented with it. And when I deviated, response rates dropped or engagement dropped.
Yeah. The thing is, it just works so well because it disarms people, and it also, we kind of make, the thing is that it's pretty early in AI, right? So people actually think they're talking to a human, and we'll probably have to later on let people know that they're speaking to AI. But because it's so human-like, and I have a saying when I'm writing copy and when I'm talking to clients via DMs or whatever, I say that I like to have a barbecue conversation with people, right? Rather than I'm Dan Wardrope, and I'm looking to tell you the best course ever on how to generate leads with AI and SMS. You know, like it doesn't work that way. I'll speak to you like I'm about to have hand you a steak and a beer at a barbecue, and I'll ask you questions, and I'll go back in a very colloquial fashion, and that's the way that we do it with our SMSs as well. So they come across, and they're very disarming, and they're very human, very colloquial, and when people get these, they just respond, and it just works so freaking well. And I'm glad to hear it's working for car dealerships too. I haven't found a niche yet that it doesn't work in.
Me neither. I've operated in a lot of niches before the dealership space, and the AI was never the issue. Normally the issues lie with like the company's sales process rather than what we're doing.
Or the data, the age of the data, or how good the data is. And if you're listening to this and you're thinking about working with clients that buy data, I'm sure dealerships do this as well, right? Like
No, they don't.
don't do this, right? Because like I'm sure, like if you see this a lot in solar and roofing, and like a solar company that's new will buy a list of data that a lead broker sells them that they think might be interested in solar panels. And like first of all, if you go after them at scale with AI and SMS, that's actually illegal. And secondly, you're going to get your numbers banned inside high level, and you're going to get huge opt-out rates, and it's just not going to work. So if you are thinking about doing that, don't do it. We only work with opted-in data, and the fresher, the better. So yeah, wow, that's a fantastic story, man. And where do you think you're going from here?
The next goal is 100K.
Should happen
Then the
fast.
one after, yeah, that's going to be by the end of this quarter. I have no doubt about it.
Wow.
And then the next one will be 250, then 500, then a million. So that was my goal from the very beginning. You know, it was you will make this work, and you will build a business that does at least 10 million a year from doing this stuff. And we're going back actually through all of our old records because previously we were just marking the leads as sold.
Yeah.
We weren't writing any additional information on there. We're now going back through the 200 cars that we've helped sell in the last like 10 months or so.
Yeah.
And we've only gone through 20 of them in yesterday. $1 million in revenue in car sales through 20 cars being sold. There's another 180 to go through.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, right? Like, there's no limit to what you can do, right? Because when I was saying before that once you've got a client or a result, it's the best time to sell them something, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, the best time to sell a consumer something else is after they've just bought something, right? So if they've just bought a car, then they probably are going to need car insurance. They're probably going to need like a warranty. I don't even know what they need. You know, but more than me, right? So if we're able to create like a workflow or something that SMSs that lead after they've just bought the car, there's another whole slot of revenue that you would never even thought of, right? So if we're able to iterate and learn and listen, just like you are when you're going through and watching the conversations inside high level, seeing where the opportunities are, tweaking your prompt, making it better, going back to the dealer, explaining what you found, asking that if you can implement it. Of course, they're going to say yes. Then say, can we upsell car finance to these guys? Can we earn a commission of that sale? That could be a trailing commission. There's just so much we can do, right? And when you're able to iterate and learn and be resourceful, like you've just explained, right? That car dealership is never going to, they just can't afford to leave you. You're just too deeply embedded into their business. And I think that's what your goal is. And I can see it's working. So, mate, super impressive. Like just listening to you explain, how this has happened has really blown me away, man. I congratulate you on your success. I know I did that last time. you were down here in Brighton, but mate, it is impressive, and I've got no doubt you're going to go take it to the next level. So
It's,
thanks for your time, man.
one of the things I think we glossed over was when this first started working and the money started flowing. I spent 9 months not in England, right?
Mm,
Like as soon as I started getting money, I was like, right, I'm gonna throw all my stuff away because I'd already done it multiple times, like living in a camper van and stuff. So,
yeah,
like making the jump to go and travel for a little while was so easy once the money was there. I went and spent 3 months in Spain, then I went and spent 3 months in Colorado with my
wow,
business partners, and then I came back to Spain for 3 months again, and then I came back to England for a little while. I spent to come down to see you guys down in Brighton for the affiliate party, and then just
yeah,
to bide a little time.
yeah,
And what I've noticed since returning is now that the money's there. Like before I left, I had nothing, right? And then now I'm back. It was like, right, I got off the plane. The next day, I bought a car. That same day, I insured it for the whole year. I'd never done that before. I taxed it and MOT'd it and did everything for that in the same day. And I was like, whoa, I got the money for this stuff now.
yeah,
Then we signed up to my old gym. And I was like, this gym sucks. Let's sign up to a more expensive gym. Then my laptop died, the trusty one that I've had this whole time.
no way.
So I
You
bought a
did
brand
that, man.
I bought a brand new Mac. Yeah.
Yeah,
Then whilst we did it, I was like, right, let me set up the whole office setup whilst we're here. And like every single thing that's happened since I started doing this stuff has just improved my life a million times over. Like even down to when it's time to go buy clothes. I'm not buying the £2.50 t-shirts anymore. I'm buying the ones that are £12.50. It's a big deal, you know. Like all of these little tiny things are it's just insane. It's
I'm
life
proud of you,
changing.
man. I'm proud of you. Well done, and thanks for all your help in the community as well.
Likewise.
I'm talking about the tech call. You got one coming up with the community in an hour and 10 minutes, so I better let you go and have a break. But mate, well done. And you come to Tuscany. I'll see you in Tuscany too.
I am. Yes.
Cheers, buddy. See you later.
Likewise.
Take
You too,
care.
man.
Bye bye.
Alrighty, I really hope you enjoyed that interview with Aaron. It just is an incredible story. He's done super well. I'm really proud of him. And all he did was take what I teach in my book, The Instant AI Agency, and apply that methodology to car dealerships. And as you just witnessed, his business has blown up. He's gone from making no money to more money than most people can dream of. Okay, he's doing super well. So my book is The Instant AI Agency. There'll be a link in the description below. Please grab it. It's good stuff. It's only $14.40. You're going to love it. Enjoy. Speak soon.